Hey everybody, so today we're going to review the Rod Ferguson's Diablo 4 Xcast interview, and thanks to Arian Historian on Reddit for summarizing this for us. So this is pretty cool. There's some really good information, actually some really good information here, which I was surprised by. So let's start here. So talked about the critic score, 88 Metacritic, 89 /90 Open Critic. He's obviously very happy. Who isn't? That's a pretty good score. And then live service allows for more content in seasons compared to Diablo 3, deeper, richer, and more content. And they've been saying this over and over again, which I think is really exciting. I think this is really good news. This was really surprising to me, and I'm also actually like theorizing there might be an expansion a year, or at least that might be what they're trying for. So it says here 2 expansions already in the work. Now, normally I've never heard Blizzard really say that. I mean, it is kind of known that, they're working on one and they have another one that they have lined up, but they are literally saying there's 2 already in the works. Which is kind of interesting because there was another part, I don't know if it was in this interview or elsewhere, where they actually talked about where the future stories don't have to be part of the main story. It could be separate. In a sense, they could easily create a new separate lore story somewhere else in the world that doesn't have to forcefully tie you in with the rest of it, which would really make creating expansions really easy, basically. But anyways, there's no power. Okay, so you're not paying for power, basically. All microtransactions are cosmetic. We don't have to worry about that. They kept talking about fixing things within hours and days. For example, the necro fix that they did on the server slam, they did at the last minute there. So they're letting players know that, it's like World of Warcraft in the sense they're able to push hot fixes there and then rather than have a separate patch, like kind of like an offline game in a sense. Talks about sustainable in development, importance of correct team structure, allows sustainable development cycles, building things in parallel, doesn't want to burn out the team and then turn out mediocre products. So this is where I'm thinking that they have 2 different teams probably working on certain content, like expansion A, expansion B, and this actually kind of makes sense too. Work-life balance, measuring human capacity to achieve sustainable goals, blah blah blah, no over-promising results. Talks about Blizzard deadlines and how Diablo is approaching Blizzard's normal timelines. That's how they came up with the quarterly seasons. Talks about how they tried to make seasons long enough for casuals to complete the battle pass. So obviously we already know this. There's 27 tiers of battle pass, 63 premium tiers. There's a premium track. It's 100% cosmetic, obviously. Power and experience boosts are in the free tier. So there's nothing else in there. Expect hiccups with the cosmetic shop as it launches. It wasn't in a ready state when they did the beta or the server slam, including, as far as I know, the internal testing with like the big YouTubers and streamers and stuff. So it never got tested. So there could be some bugs there. Talks about setting the Diablo 4 world in the future to allow a standalone lore. Okay, this is a good one. So basically no homework or playing other games required. So I like this. To allow standalone lore, and this is where I think the expansion 1 and 2 comes into place, because literally they should be able to kind of come up with new stories that are individual, that don't have anything to do with Act 1 to 5 or Act 1 to 6, whatever. Try to make a big story to draw in a new audience. Prologue and intro for newcomers. Prologue was later introduced to funnel players through the mechanics and prevent, analyze, and paralyze. And I don't know what that all is. Yeah, so prologue intro for newcomers. Okay. Yeah, so it's basically to help new players, but not to overburn old players as well. Talks about marketing to the new generation and reaching an audience they haven't yet. Diablo fans are getting old. The series is 20 plus years old. Blizzard wants a fresh meat, so they made things to attract the younger audience. So they got, this, Anthem music video coming out soon. They've done the KFC deals. They've done all these things that a lot of older people have been complaining about. And this is a perfect example where they're targeting the younger age, not just us, which makes sense because you want this, you can't just keep releasing a game and losing players every single time, right? Talk about why they choose open world. They didn't want Diablo to be constrained to the beautiful hallways. I love the open world so far, so I can't complain about that. Dungeons and stories are 100% private to your party, and randoms cannot join or interrupt, which we knew about that, but some people were confused about that, so there you go. No competition between online players, only help, except PvP. They want to build a community. Wanted to keep player saturation low but consistent. Each region is a server, and you move through regions as you switch servers. Couch co-op is possible. They didn't mention console exclusivity, but they have apparently said it's in the past that it's not possible to do on PC due to Battle.net. Basically, there's actual code built into consoles that allow that, and it just doesn't really exist for that. So let me move this all up here. So there we go. Been doing lots of stress testing through betas and server slam after using bots. Been prepping opening the floodgates on launch day, and we're feeling pretty good about day one. And this was one of the reasons I was explaining to people why it was lagging so bad on the Fridays, was because they were purposely lagging and destroying the server for the testing. And that's why Fridays were bad. Saturday and Sunday was flawless, and that was why. And when they did the server slam, it was purely, I guess they didn't do the bots then, and it was really good. They have different thresholds to let different numbers of people. They escalate the opening of the floodgates. They have to go through approval process through like 4 people. Well, that's interesting. Endgame has been praised by critics. How do you feel about it, considering the players always want more? First mainline Diablo game that is launching with an endgame built into the box, LOL. Well, he's not entirely wrong there. Yeah, that's the thing. I think this is the first time that there's been a Diablo with an endgame, right? So basically with Diablo, all you do is rerun the old content over and over. There's actually other things to do, so that's a pretty big deal. Lots of priorities on making sure endgame is functional correctly. Hightail's difficulty, Tree of Whispers, PvP nightmares, and dungeons. So there you go. Many people do not see Diablo as a story game and see it as a systems game where endgame is the true game. What wanted to ensure that these people were happy at launch, which makes sense. PvP is a murder fest. You don't have to play PvP if you don't like it. There is PvE and PvP zones, but you can always get ganked. You get cosmetic achievements through PvP zones, but again, it's 100% optional. So it's kind of fun. You go in there, you might get ganked, but you can also do PvE. Rod likes the dark tone of number 1, progression of 2, combat of 3. We wanted people who love D2 and D4 and people who love D3 to love D4. So basically, it's a conglomerate of everything put together. Rune's word is something they think is interesting, but it's so deep, they haven't figured out how to put it in the game yet. Oh, that's cool. So they still want to do it. Rod said he's going to be a Necro main, which I think he was playing a Necro during the beta. Classes he would like to see in the future, refused to answer, LO. Like the 5 classes, and would love to create a class in Diablo that hasn't been seen before. My theory is Paladin will be the first class. I feel like there's already hints of it. What are the cows? Question mark. Sorry, had to stay grounded and no silly stuff in D4. He was referring to things staying with the Diablo aesthetics, lore, and world fun or not. If he didn't fit in, it's not being implemented. Well, Diablo cow levels always have been part of Diablo, so I don't know. He likes Butcher implementation, especially the added of the Butcher in hardcore. Oh gosh. Yeah, I watched a video of a guy doing Butcher in hardcore. He died. He ran, he screamed, he died. Okay, last one here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Have no idea how long it'll take for 1,000 people to reach hardcore level 100. Think people are underestimating the difficulty. People who participate in the review build cannot participate in the race as well. So awesome. I think that is an awesome list. This was a good information here. Lots of great info. I kind of like the 2 expansions. Like the biggest take from this for me was the 2 expansions that are being worked on at the same time, and then the other one where the lore can be standalone content, which I think would make making new zones around the world a lot easier. But either way, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.